Everybody, it's Heather Drummond of Healing Vitality, and I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about chronic reverse polarity and how it can show up in the body, both for animals and people. So, chronic reverse polarity refers to the polarity of the water molecules in your body not actually having the correct polarity. So, typically, hydrogen is the positive and oxygen's slightly negative, and those two poles operate under normal circumstances in that fashion. Under stress, though, those poles shift. And it's much like a magnet. If you were to throw it on the ground hard enough, it would shift the dynamic of that magnet and it would not be able to go on the fridge the same way. If you put the negatives together, they actually would seem to attract because the negative side of one of the magnets would be positive after ever slamming against the floor hardly or in a hard way. um, so the same thing goes on in our bodies when we are slammed by stress is that polarity shifts and it creates a dynamic in our water cells that creates assembly lines not working as well as they should. These assembly lines that I'm referring to are a very simplistic description of how we make hormones, how our digestive tract works, how neurotransmitters get transported around the brain. Everything in our body, in my humble opinion, very simplistic, non medical opinion, is an assembly line. So it's like a whole bunch of subway systems or perhaps train systems or roadways. You can think about it however you want. In my simplistic brain, that's how it works. And if you think about it, if there is a traffic jam or all of a sudden traffic starts going the other direction, we get havoc. Problems start happening. And that is when things work the opposite than they are expected, or they work for a little bit and then they don't work anymore. And how that will show up for people and animals is that they'll be able to drink coffee and go to bed, or they'll take melatonin and it will keep them awake, or maybe they'll be on, be able to have a supplement and it actually increases inflammation and makes them feel awful when it's supposed to detox inflammation. Some people actually get swelling or they'll go through a reaction of hives for something that's a histamine remover or an antihistamine type nutrient. Other people will have situations where they will just have nothing go on. So their friend tried this fantastic nutrient or this new food that they loved and it made them feel fantastic. Maybe it's coconut oil in their coffee or something along those lines that should be supportive to a person, either their brain or making hormones or feeling more vital or balancing their blood sugars. And the person in question is like, oh my God, I was starving after the first 10 minutes. Like that makes no sense. Or perhaps they're in a situation where it gave them indigestion. And the other person was like, no, I felt fabulous. If you think about indigestion or heartburn, that's a reversal of a assembly line. And that's another key indication that something's going wrong with somebody's digestive health and possibly has chronic reverse polarity. So, when somebody's digestive system or an assembly line isn't working properly, put that in the back of your mind that maybe I've got this chronic reverse polarity thing. Or perhaps if you're suffering from what I would call the spin hangover, which could be something like jet lag, or maybe it's constipation when you travel, or perhaps it's a slow time recovering from anesthesia from a surgery, or maybe you're in a situation where you've come out of your stressful period during your work time. Maybe it's report cards at school, or perhaps it's tax season and you work in the tax industry. but you just haven't found your energy in the appropriate amount of time that you usually do, that can be a sign again that you're dealing with chronic reverse polarity. It's almost like a hangover state. And if you think about it in terms of toxic load, which is another term I refer to often, that is a situation when you're not detoxing properly and you're not able to access the nutrients as you normally would in your digestive process. If we're not accessing our nutrients properly, we're not breaking things down and getting it to a place where we can use the nutrients as part of our detoxification. And so, therefore, we're stuck in a more inflamed or more toxic load state or a hangover. So, if any of those things describe you, or if you are mapping this to your animals, it may look like a behavior issue. It may look like you've got a dog that's just dealing with digestive runs, like they've got diarrhea for no particular reason, or they're constipated for no particular reason. Maybe they've got themselves into a state where they just don't have as much energy as they usually do, or what they should have. Perhaps they're recovering from a surgery and you're feeling like they should have recovered by now. Sometimes it's like, well, they've been anxious ever since we went away on vacation. If there's an event and they weren't the same since the event, maybe it's a trailer loading event that happened, or a trailering event that happened, and they haven't been the same since that, or perhaps they went away for training, haven't been the same since that, or perhaps, there's been a change at the burn, or a herd mate passed away and they just haven't been the same since. Those would be signs that possibly chronic reverse polarity is at play. So, just wanting to put that on your radar screen as possible things to look for, because chronic reverse polarity is fixable. It's a matter of boosting the immune system and recovering the state that was the original state in the body in order for it to work like it used to. So it's not a hard process. A lot of times our body will intuitively want to eat things that are beneficial for us, but sometimes we just need more support than we may be able to get from food. So sometimes there is a need for supplementation, or sometimes support from a mental or emotional or energetic perspective. So, anyways, I just wanted to put all those things on your radar screen to make you aware that there is this thing called chronic reverse polarity, and it is real and it is fixable. So, thanks so much. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to comment below. It's not in medical terminology as a thing. I don't know exactly why. Perhaps it's a good thing it's not there. Perhaps it's not a good thing it's not there. But it comes up a lot in my practice, probably because I've become an expert in it. And intuitively and energetically, I'm attracting that sort of clientele. So it's been fun to work with for the last, well, since 2005, and it's been amazing to see the transformations that I've seen with it. So thanks so much for listening. And if you have questions, like I said, comment below. Or if you've experienced some sort of recovery from something like this, I'd love to hear your stories. All right. Have a great day.